it's Debbie with Kip's Corner. Welcome back, and if you're a new subscriber, welcome aboard. Today I'm getting started on my giveaway journal. This journal is going to be themed Coffee with Friends. I thought that would be appropriate as a thank you to reaching the 1,000 subscriber mark. So I've been playing a little bit, and I thought I'd show you what I've got going on here. So let me kind of take some of this away. First off, I have a little bit of an unusual size. I have this book cover that was in disrepair. The spine was completely gone. So basically I had a front and a back. And so I created a new spine, and I made it a nice hefty 2-inch spine. So I've got lots to fill in here. And I've used this fabric. It's see if I can get up close. It's got a really pretty pattern in it. It's kind of looks like maybe a cup of coffee with too much cream in it. And so I've been playing with some pieces that I've got here, and I think I've come up with what I want to do. Got this vintage doily that has a little piece cut out of it that I probably used for something, but I'm going to cover that up, and I thought I would put that right on the spine and hit that right in the middle. It's got a stain over here that I couldn't get out, and I think that's coffee. We're going to call it anyway, a coffee stain. So yeah, it's got a coffee stain already. So yeah, I thought I'd start there. And then I've got this beautiful, well, here, let me back up. I've created a little panel here, and I did kind of a little skinny thing. I'm going to put some wax on this and play with it some more. But right now I've got, see if I can get that up there where you can see it. I've got some crackle here in the corner, and I've got some texture paste or modeling paste through a stencil that's dried. Then I've got a little chipboard piece here that's kind of cute. It's got almost like an Art Deco-y look to it. And this is just a piece of chipboard that I've painted a dark brown. And then this is, let me show you what this started out as. This was a charm. Silver. There were 2 of them here, and I got them at Joann's for, you know, some great sale. And it was 2 different coffee type cups. So I took this one, popped off the bail piece at the top, sanded it down with the Dremel tool, so we've got nice smooth top, painted it with a black gesso, and then I went over the top of it just very lightly, gently, with a Metallique wax. Bronze Age is the color that I'm going to use on all of this. So that's there, and I thought that would look really good right there in the middle of that circle. And then under that, I think I will, this is a piece of vintage lace. I think it was a collar. It's just really pretty and old. So I thought I would lay a piece here, kind of like that. And it's got a little bit of a curve to it since it was a collar. So I think that'll work. And then I've got this, which is a beautiful color. And it's too wide, so I took a piece of it and cut it off. And then I've got the other half that I can use later. So I thought that would look good underneath the kind of poking out here with just a little bit of lace like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So that's what I've got so far. And yeah, so let's play. Oh, and I've also got these buttons that I might use. The whatever that's called, the piece you sewn on is not there anymore. But I can sand that down a little bit further, and I might be able to put some buttons. These look like, this color looks like it's got coffee with creamer. So I'm trying to think in coffee mode. So right around the time, or right just before I hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, I had decided I would do, obviously, a giveaway. But I pretty much simultaneously decided to do a coffee theme. And so I started collecting coffee-related pieces. I don't have digital kits printed out, but I think this book will end up using digital kits from several different places. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's not going to be, this is just one person's digital kit. This is a whole bunch of people's. And I think that'll put together a kind of a cool look. Anyway, I started gathering things. That's when shortly thereafter is when I saw the the charms and picked them up. And then I just began collecting things in a bag. And I do that while I'm working on a video. I was still working on the dragonfly video at the time. While I'm working on a video, I'll begin thinking about the next one, or even the next two. And I'll just get a couple Ziploc bags or little pouches of some sort, and just as I'm rummaging through my stash for the video that I'm working on, and I come across something, I was like, oh yeah, that'll work good for this other video or journal that I want to make. And so I begin collecting things. And so that's kind of how I work through it. And once I then actually begin to focus and get started, then I go through the things I've collected and begin to pull together a bigger picture. So let's play. Let's set this aside. And I think the first thing I want to do, here's another piece of this pretty lace. I think the first thing I want to do is get this on. And I thought if I hit that right in the middle, and hit that edge right at the 1 inch mark, that will look, oops, see, that's the wrong side. Go this way. That'll look pretty good. So I'm going to glue that on for starters and start there. Anytime I'm gluing fabric to fabric, unless it's very fine detail, like when I put this, they're all stuck together. When I put this piece on, I'll use a fine tip art glitter glue, because it gives me the precision that I need so that I don't get glue globbed all over the place. But for the most part, the best glue to use for fabric to fabric, especially, it's also awesome for paper. It stinks a little, but that's okay. But it's the Beacon 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac. The only difference is my understanding, the only difference between the two is that one is machine washable and one is not. And I'm pretty sure nobody's going to be putting their journal in the washing machine. So as far as I'm concerned, they are the same. Let me just make sure I'm using the right side here. Yep, there it is. This lace is really old. It's cool. It's kind of a peachy color. It's almost a peachy pink. I don't know if that shows up on video or not, but it's really pretty, and I think it'll add just a tiny touch of color to this journal. So I'm just going to put this Fabri-Tac on the thicker parts of this and try to avoid, there's sort of a meshy background here. So I'm going to try to avoid getting any on the mesh just so it doesn't ooze through. And I especially want to hit those edges so it adheres nicely to the fabric piece underneath. So exciting stuff here gluing, but bear with me while I get some glue all over this. That ought to do it. Okay, I'm going to put my ruler down here just because I do want to try to get this in the center, where the edge of the lace is hitting at about the center of the spine. I think that'll give it a nice little subtle look here. And it's got, like I said, it's got just this ever so slight curve to it, just because it was I'm almost positive it was a collar. I'm just going to give that a good push down. And now I've got to decide if I want to, let's get a bone folder in here, just so I can make sure that's got, I've got to decide if I want to wrap this around the top and bottom, or if I want to trim this off right, there we go, right at the edge. Decisions. So here's the underside. On the inside of the spine that I added in, I put a piece of book tape. It's a nice big fat 4-inch piece of book tape. So that's going to be much sturdier than the original one was. Do I want to do that? I don't want to get too much bulk in here. So I think what I'll do is just trim that right off. And if I've got good glue, make sure I'm glued nicely right on the edge. I don't think I'll have any fraying problems with that. So let's do that. Get that out of the way. Yeah, and I'll go back and add a little bit of glue to that edge there. I got all sorts of goobers all over this. And then the paper pack I'm going to use, in addition to digital pieces, digital kits, is a from Stamperia. And a couple of the sheets, those will be pretty little pieces to use other places. Let me make sure make sure I've got the correct front forward. That'll help, won't it? Okay, that's down. Next up, I want to add this. And so I want to get these little pointy pieces in there, right in the center of the spine. So it'll look like that. Is that center? Yeah. I will. Yeah. So the spine will look like that's not centered. Oops. Let's try that again. There we go. So something like that on the spine. I think that's really pretty. And this is also a vintage piece. This is a vintage doily that I probably picked up at an estate sale. I know I've got this collar piece at an estate sale. Okay. Actually, no, it's not a Stamperia kit. It is... Here, let me show you. See, look, there's some of the paper. Let's see. There's the front page. But see, it's got this almost this peachy color in the background on some of the pages. So it's, hopefully that'll all tie in nicely. It's got some beautiful sheets. There's the front. See, I was in here messing around. So here we go. Ciao Bella. Duh. I knew that. Here you go. Buongiorno Italiano. And it's just all coffee stuff. So that's the paper pad that I'm going to use. All right, let me get that out of the way. And let's focus our attention back to gluing this little guy down. I think what I'll do is I'll go through here. I'll go through this fatter part of the doily with the Fabri-Tac, or do I have 3-in-1? They're basically, I've already said that. They're the same thing. So I'm going to go through, and I'll use 2 different glues on this. I'm going to go through kind of some of this thicker part of the crochet with this. And then, since this is on the spine with extra wear and tear, I want to make sure that I get glue right here on all of these edges nicely. So that's why I'm using Art Glitter glue there. Okay. Here's what I got so far. Got that lace peeking out there. All right, now, where's the piece? Okay, here's the piece I cut. And I want this to hit right on the edge here. right like that. Straight. So, same thing, we're gonna start gluing. Let's see, it looks like I don't need, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off just so I know not to glue that. Add that to my little pile of snippet stuff. Same thing, I'm gonna come through here. I'm just gonna come through here on these flowers with the 3-in-1. I've never had fabric that didn't stay with art glitter glue, but I also like using both just to give me that extra sense of confidence, I guess. Same thing here. I've got to decide whether or not I want to come around to the edge, or do I want to stop? I'd rather there be less bulk on that inside, so I think I will cut. There we go. And you can see where this piece, this doily piece was cut out. You can see that I've covered that up. So you can't tell, and you won't be able to tell once I get this piece on here. You won't be able to tell that this was just a partial piece. It actually helps to add a little bit of less bulk, I think, underneath the whole thing. Okay, let's trim this off. Like so. And again, I got more little pieces. I want to just cut that right there. Oops, it's glued down. Okay. Make sure I got good glue on there. All right. Now the next one's going to be tricky because I want to make sure that the spacing is exactly right. I'm going to go ahead and cut this like I did this one. I think on this one I kind of cut it right through that little flower piece there. So the other half of this lace will, this trim, it's lace trim. The other half will be great to use somewhere else in the book. That'll help tie in all the colors too. All right, let's get this. It's going in the right direction. Now, what I can do, since I've got a nice pattern back here, what I can do is sort of measure out where I want that to be. And then I'll be able to gauge there we go, like that. That'll make them even on both sides. And it looks like, wait, no, don't do that yet. See, you almost messed up. I want this down first. All right. Let's start over. Let's see, I make sure I got the right side here. Okay, we've got her all glued down, or at least all the lace. And so we're going to have a spine that has this beautiful doily on it, curls around the back, and the peachy color here with the darker brownish, I don't know what color that is, taupey colored little lace pieces, and then our panel. our mixed media panel here will sit right there in the middle. So the cover will look something like that. Okay, before I glue this down, I need to finish it. I don't want to glue it down and then work on it because I don't want to take the chance of getting wax or paints or anything like that on this fabric. So I'm going to do it first. Right now I'm using, this is Metalique wax. It's kind of like a Gilder's wax. I guess that exactly is what it is. And it's Bronze Age. It's what I used on the little coffee cup. And so now I'm just going to go and just use my finger. I'm just going to get a little bit on here. And very gently, very lightly going to rub that. And what that'll do is it'll bring out the textured surfaces, add highlights to them, and just really make them pop a little bit more. And so I'm just going to kind of come down here, down the whole piece, and just rub. Try to get it as even as I can. And get as much as I can on those raised surfaces. This gives it a nice, it's a pretty effect. It's one of my favorite techniques. Obviously, you see me use it all the time. And then I'll come back over this and maybe do some dry brushing with a creamy color. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to get this piece all covered. And obviously my finger doesn't, get into all the nooks and crannies, and I'm okay with that. I kind of like the effect of it sort of being, a little browner, if you will, in the areas right next to the piece. If I look at it later and I feel like it just looks a little like it's really missing and needs some wax in those areas, then I will go back through with a tiny brush and I'll get that added. So now I'm just going to make sure that I've got the edges done here too, because they will show. And I think that'll be a nice effect if I've got the Bronze Age on the edges as well. I could just leave them solid brown and not worry about it, but I'm kind of sloppy and it's hard for me to do that, so I'd rather just go back and get it on the edges. So I'm kind of consistent, so that there's a consistent look there. Okay. And there you have that. It's got a nice little bronzy look to it. And that should look pretty good right there. Now that needs more color. It needs a little bit more going on with it. But I am going to go back through and do a little, like I said, do a little dry brushing, probably with some cream. Since I'm going to experiment and play and I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do, I think I'll do that off camera. And I'll come back and show you what I've done and try to explain it. And then maybe next time we'll show it on camera. So that's where we are so far. Not quite there yet, not quite done, but it's getting there. Thanks for watching. If you want to be able to participate when I get done with this journal into the drawing for the giveaway, so you need to be a subscriber to my channel. When I get done with the whole journal, I'll do a flip through, and during that flip through video will be the video where I will draw a random name from the comments on the flip through. So be sure and not only subscribe, but click the little bell icon for notifications so you know when that video comes up. And meanwhile, I'll be back with some more process videos as I work through this whole journal. So I hope you're enjoying it, and leave me a comment and let me know what you are thinking so far. So yeah, so be sure and hit the little notification button thingy up in the corner. Meanwhile, I'll keep working, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.